This episode and every episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show is brought to you by Monger Brewing. Visit Monger at their tap room in Marietta, Georgia, or online at ironmongerbrewing.com.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yeah, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
Welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio Studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week, we're talking with Sceptre Brewing Arts. I'm Tim Dennis, and with me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Brian Hewitt.
Hey, Tim. So joining us today, we have Trevor Jones, the brewmaster for Sceptre Brewing Arts. We're going to talk about their first year, craft malt certifications, wild lager yeast. That's right, wild lager yeast. And hey, the 4th of July, it's here already. So, Trevor, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate
Absolutely, man. Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.
America, happy birthday, America.
Yeah.
Happy birthday,
It's a
America.
good one.
We still have some freedom, y'all.
We do,
right.
a bit. We're
do it.
working on
Just
it,
a
man.
touch.
And we're working on to make our freedom even better.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
You know, Brian and I used to get together, Trevor, every year at his house for 4th of July because Brian's right across from a big mall in Atlanta, Lenox Mall.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to do a really nice fireworks display.
They
And,
did.
You know, from Brian's sky-high condo there, you could got a great view. But they quit a couple years ago.
They did. I'm so sad about that.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
every now and then they'll kick one off. I think like Thanksgiving they still might do one. It just
No,
randomly.
not on the 4th, but let's do it for Thanksgiving.
Well, Thanksgiving.
Huh?
I'm like, what? But yeah. Anyway, it's
Keeping you guessing.
It's sad because I really enjoyed that. I really
It
liked
was nice.
seeing it from there. Yes.
Fire up the grill, watch
Yep.
the fireworks from the comfort of an air-conditioned house.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's really nice.
That's hard
my,
to beat.
My
you
dogs
know.
hate it, though, so I always try to get out of
Yeah.
town. I'll take my dogs up to the
Yeah.
camping somewhere, and we'll just go hang out in the middle of nowhere. It's awesome.
My dog is 17 and right on the verge of totally deaf now. So
Oh,
you know,
wouldn't
she
matter.
hated them when she could hear, but now she's like, whatever, man, whatever. So yeah,
Hey, you're here. This is great. I
that's
like
it. Yeah,
you.
we're hanging out. Everything's fine.
Right
yeah.
now she can nap on a running vacuum.
She's cool.
Yeah, just
no
not even
problem
really
at all.
bothered by
no
it.
problem
Yeah.
at all. Absolutely. Yeah. Trevor, how's your week been, man? How's thing going for you?
Pretty good, man. Super busy. We just opened a patio a couple weeks ago, so doing a lot of work outside and
Okay.
trying to get all that situated so we got more space for everybody to hang out.
Now, are you still totally closed inside?
Yeah, we're not letting anybody in, but
Okay.
we do have bathrooms inside. So if you got to go
Okay,
in,
gotcha.
it's just one way in, one way out. But we've got
Yeah.
a pretty nice big patio.
You do. Yes, it's a very nice patio there. Very nice.
Very
But
colorful, as I recall.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Very bright and sunshiny. Brian, how about you, man? How was your week?
It was pretty eventful. One of my favorite nearby to me places to go hang out, drink some locally made beer, and eat some nice food. Hopsticks reopened this week, and hopefully they stay open for a while. And I went over there and had a bunch of ramen and local mushroom rabata, and I had their kung fu hops and their super dry rice lager. So I was quite excited about that. It'd been months since I'd been there. They've been
Right.
closed the entire time. I think they were to go maybe. And I also got into some drink your cellar, #drink your cellar picks.
Of course you did.
I did drank a Red Brick 20th anniversary ale, which I think is 6 years old at this point in time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Held up really well. And I also drank a Heavy Seas Below Decks Cabernet barrel aged barley wine from 2012. I love red wine barrel aged beers,
do
and
too.
that held up
Yes.
really well as well. So
Was it 903 Brewers that we got that Cabernet Barrel Stout?
I think that's
I
right.
think that beer actually prompted us to get them on the show. 'Cause we're like,
yes,
this is
we
just
drank
too good.
that.
We've gotta have
It went
this, yeah.
after them. Yes.
That was good, yeah. Well,
How
Brian,
about you?
Good week, man. You know, fairly easy going. Things are still, you know, some things are trickling open here, so we're doing what we can. We went out to a Reformation Brewery, which their home is in my hometown, Woodstock, Georgia, and but they opened a couple new locations actually, and one is in Smyrna, Georgia. We went and checked it out, a little satellite brewery there, and a cool little spot, you know, smaller spot there, but had a good time. Checked it out. Also went where our studio is. Those that have been listening for a while, we're actually inside of Ironmonger Brewing here in Marietta, and in this complex now, it's a full alcoholic entertainment complex.
It
Now,
is.
Viking Alchemist Meadery just recently opened a tap room here, so we stopped by and saw our friends at Viking Alchemist, and we checked it out. You know, we sipped some meads.
Some blueberry ones, heavily
Some
blueberry
blueberries.
ones.
Very
much
heavily
a fan of
fruited.
that.
Yeah,
Sounds
absolutely.
great.
But you know, along the lines, Brian, talking about going to Reformation, this that inspired our Instagram poll for this week, our trip to Reformation. So, Trevor, I'm going to ask your opinion on this. Our Instagram poll was, do you like live music when you visit a brewery? What's your opinion on that?
I do like live music.
Okay.
It's got to be the right environment, though.
Yeah.
If you just kind of throw somebody in the middle of the tap room, that can be a little bit too much because it's just like everything packed in the same space.
Yeah.
But if you've got a place for it, yeah, definitely.
Okay. I hear you. I get that. Brian, what's your opinion on music in your brewery?
I don't mind live music as long as the sound is right. A lot of times I go to a place and you are completely drowned out and your ears bleed after you're listening to live music. And sometimes those covers aren't that good. So they're a little too loud and they're not good enough to be that loud. So, I mean, with all apologies to any musician that might be listening.
So here's the thing, Brian. You added the caveat that if it's right, the volume's right and all of that. I don't know that when you put someone live out, they don't set their volume to medium.
They do not.
They don't set it to low. Like live musicians just don't do that. It's not going to happen. I'm going to stand firm on I am opposed to it. I'm not a fan of music at breweries because when I go to breweries, I normally go to hang out and talk with friends.
Sure.
So that's the thing that gets me is because it's always out, just like the coffee house. The coffee house singers, they're loud, and usually for coffee or beer or something like that, it's usually a social thing for me. So I'm going to hang out and do that. So but the masses, Brian, what do the masses say about this? So in our Instagram poll, do you like live music when you visit a brewery? 64% of people said yes, they do. So that's it. So about 2/3, which still a third of people is still a decent chunk that are on my team here.
I'm guessing that volume has something to do with it because I don't mind. In some cases, I've really enjoyed live music, but the sound is so important.
I enjoy live music when I'm going for the music. Like that has to be my goal. If I'm going out to have a beer or going out to have a cup of coffee, I probably want things at a volume that I can have a conversation.
Now, to be fair, I know you also do not like it when radio stations or XM stations play
live
music.
Live versions.
Yeah.
Give me that studio. Give me that.
He wants a studio cut.
Give me that cooked up studio stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Some of the best albums are total live albums.
I know that. I had a friend that used to he loved to get DVDs of concerts, and he'd just keep them on rotation. He had back when DVD changers, like a 6-disc changer, was a cool thing. He just loaded up with different concert DVDs, like on a Saturday, and he'd hang out drinking all day, letting concerts rotate. And not my thing, but so be it.
Doesn't sound bad, Tim. I think we have to get into the beers of the week now.
All right, Brian.
Crack open a cold one. It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Woo-hoo! Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
As always, we have a great selection of beers to drink. We pre-gamed with Brian. One you mentioned, the Hopstick Super Dry, the Japanese rice lager. That was really good. La Cumbre's box showed up, Brian.
It did.
We got UPS at first, but we got it, we found it, and we drank their Zuzak's Kolsch. So we talked to them last week. If you missed that show, check it out. We also have a lot of nice beers from Sceptre Brewing. We'll talk about more of them as we get into the show, but we're currently drinking their Thrash Can Lager, and we're also going to get into a beer that just released, the Sceptre Pipeline Agave Lime Sour. So it should be some good drinking. Brian, what's happening this week in the news?
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines.
Well, Tim, I enjoy a study that extols the virtue of drinking beer. According to a new study, a drink a day may improve brain function, according to the medical journal JAMA. I forgot to look up what that is, but they're very official anyway. The link between moderate consumption of alcohol and improved cognitive function is there, and they specifically found this to be true in middle-aged and older adults, which is also good for me.
It's good
and
for
I'm very
you.
happy
Absolutely.
about this.
Yeah.
So the study included nearly 20,000 adults, average age of 61.8, a little higher than me, thank goodness.
Just a little bit.
And it followed these people for 12 whole years. The key to this thing, of course, is moderate consumption of alcohol, which means 15 or fewer drinks for men a week or a day. I don't know which. Either way. Or eight or fewer drinks for women in a week's time. So the study also found that binge drinking does not help cognitive health. It actually goes back down from the...
I could see that, Brian. That makes sense that it does not, that binging does not benefit. So, but, 15 beers a week, that's still a couple a day. That's pretty generous.
That's not bad. I mean, if that's considered moderate, I'm on board with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take a break. But we'll be back very soon with more from Sceptre Brewing Arts. You know we love good beer, and Athletic Brewing makes non-alcoholic beer that stands shoulder to shoulder with their boozy brethren. With a fraction of the calories and certified organic, it's a great beer to enjoy anytime.
Athletic's got new brews like Cerveza Atletica just in time for summer. Check out the full selection at athleticbrewing.com. Use code BG25 for 25% off your first order, and U.S. customers get free nationwide shipping. Athletic Brewing, brew without compromise.
It's Brian and Tim, the beer guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth are always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy, Brian. They've got 18 of them.
As for the truck part, that's where it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks, so you're getting a different menu every day.
Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth.
Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the beer guys sent you.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I believe you have my stapler.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand, so if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on all popular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to our top talk with Sceptre Brewing Arts.
Trevor, sir, how are you?
Doing well.
Good, man. We've had a beer. We've had a beer.
have.
We're into another beer now.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Doubling down.
Trevor, we have just opened up your pipeline. Can you tell us about this beer?
Sure, man. I kind of come from more of a cocktail background before I started brewing. I'm obsessed with margaritas, and I really love mezcal. This is kind of a little beer version of mezcal margarita.
Okay.
So it's got a little bit of smoked pecan with malt, but it's just a hint, and it's got a really nice wheat, half pilsner, kind of grain bill, and some fresh lime zest and agave to sweeten it up a little bit.
It's quite limey. It's unique. It's got a unique character to it. I think I get the little hint of like a wisp of smokiness there.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Yes. Like a lot of times I think of
a little bit of yes.
A little bit of yes. The mezcal frequently has either smoke or like tobacco notes to it, and I'm like, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm filling in the blanks with that. But yes, I get where you're going with that. But no actual mezcal in that of any kind. All right.
No.
I guess that's just agave, really. So it does have agave in it. So
it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it works out.
Close, Brian.
It works
so
out,
close.
Tim. I
Absolutely.
forgot mezcal is just the fruit of agave.
What is the difference in mezcal and tequila?
Tequila is mezcal,
Okay.
but not all mezcal is tequila.
One of those. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's like parallelograms or something like that. Squares
is it?
and rectangles.
Okay.
Something like that.
I did used to drink mezcal. Monte Alban, I think. Is
It's a
that
mezcal.
brand? I think that's a cheap version. I think that's
it's
the
pretty
gutter
cheap.
version of
Yeah.
that stuff.
I
That was back in the day.
Wait, does it have
That
a
was back in
scorpion at the
day.
bottom?
No.
Or a finger
It did have the worm. I remember we bought it because it was the cheapest one that had a worm in it.
Oh,
And,
right.
When you're 21, that's the main goal. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My wife and I spent our honeymoon in Tulum, Mexico.
Okay.
On the Yucatan, and every bar had like a little decanter at the end of the bar, and they would just pour you off a little mezcal. That's like their house, little like, hey,
Their
welcome,
house thing?
welcome to the
Okay.
bar.
All right. You're
Yeah.
like, cool. I went to San Diego probably a decade ago now. It's a long time ago, but went down to Tijuana for a day.
Oh yeah,
And I stopped at a restaurant to get some tacos and a margarita. And the guy says, do you want to add a shot of tequila for $1? And I said, what kind of tequila is it? And he goes, who cares? It's $1. I was like, you know what?
You make a good
That's
point.
a solid argument,
that's
man.
classic,
a solid
TJ.
argument.
That's classic.
Good stuff, man. Well, Trevor, Sceptre Brewing Arts, you guys are just over a year old now, and
Can't believe it.
you were lucky enough to celebrate your year anniversary during a global pandemic, so that's been fun. And you mentioned earlier, you said your patio's open right now.
Yeah, it
but
is.
not inside. Have you got plans yet to open inside?
No, I don't think you can plan for anything right now.
Okay, just let's see how this goes, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everybody likes to think that they can, foresee some kind of change in the world, but you just kind of have to react at this moment because there's so much going on. It's just you can't plan.
I had a chat with a buddy the other day, and we were just like, everything's crazy. We're just trying to take it day by day right now.
Totally.
Do the best you can.
Just roll with it. See what happens, and hope for the best.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
absolutely.
It helps to drink about it.
So
It does. Let's drink about it.
So I guess that answers whether or not you have any celebration plans coming up. Any special beers at all for that's going to be released maybe to go or anything like that?
Yeah, so we're working on some sour barrels. If you've been inside our tap room in the past, you will notice that the barrels are above a lot of seating. So most of you have seen them. We have some wild ale aging in those that has been aging for a year now. So several of those barrels are really, really good. So we'll actually be doing a blend of some and adding some local strawberries.
Oh, nice.
And
Very
then we'll do one barrel just on its own as a single barrel feature.
If you're not using the interior space, that you could really expand your barrel program a lot because there's a lot of space in there. I'm like, just let it age for however long it ages.
It's basically a storage room right now.
Right now, yeah. You're like, forget it. We're a patio and a barrel house.
That's right, patio barrel house. Yes.
Right?
Now, Trevor, your background before Sceptre Brewing Arts, Sceptre's got an interesting history. The brewery itself, so it opened, I guess, a couple years ago now, 2-3 years ago, as Oak Brewpub, and they were open a very short time and closed. And then they reopened, and then they closed again. And during that second closure is when, if you've been to Atlanta or you're in Atlanta, Argosy is a really popular beer bar here, but the owners of Argosy purchased it to open Sceptre. And I really am not 100% sure exactly what happened with Oak, but you guys went in there, and one thing that I remember we talked about back when you were first opening that was unique for you is normally when you go in and you open a new brewery, you get to pick out your brewing equipment. But this was, you were set and ready to go. Was that good or bad, a little of both?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the Oak's downfalls was that they kind of overdid their brew house. It's got a lot of bells and whistles that I probably wouldn't have picked out just for pricing, honestly. But now I get to take advantage of that, so it's pretty nice.
Okay.
So it did work out
It's
to your
there,
advantage.
so it worked out, huh? Yeah.
We did have to, finish up some projects that they didn't finish themselves, which was a lot of headache. And it's kind of hard when you're not there for the design to finish the projects that weren't done.
Right.
But we
Yeah.
figured it out, and it's actually become probably my favorite place I've brewed.
Okay. You go in there, it's your brew house, you learn it, you work together, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, your background, you've been in brewing for a little while, but you were actually in the arts prior to this, right? A fairly decently long career in arts administration, correct?
Sure. Yeah.
Why the jump to brewing?
Well, really, I don't like the nonprofit world so much
Okay.
as far as like a vocation because it's great to go to a show or be involved with art projects, but being like in it all the time, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of grant writing and it's a lot of talking to people with money and convincing them that your project is worth their money. I think that the creativity of brewing lets me celebrate art in that way.
Sure.
And I kind of dabbled in some art collectives, and they were very, very open, kind of like, whatever you do is your art kind of thing. And I think beer is just my art. I just figured it out, so
It's a pretty good medium. We're fans. Yes.
Thanks.
we are art appreciators.
Manages the art of yeast, basically. Well, and ingredients too. So.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sourcing and, process and cleaning. And there's an art to all of it.
Absolutely. It's part art, part science, part voodoo, magic,
Part
whatever.
maintenance.
So, yeah,
Magic,
a little
you're right.
bit of all of that
Yeah.
in there. Absolutely. Now, you guys have some really cool murals at Sceptre. Did you have any involvement with those?
Oh, yeah. So I actually, with my two friends, Edgar and Adam, we did the super colorful mural that's on the corrugated walk-in where our taps are right now. I designed the kind of basic idea, and then they helped me kind of make it happen.
And for those who haven't seen it, what's that mural?
So it's kind of just like geometric shapes that kind of jut into each other, and it's 5 colors that are like red, purple, orange, yellow, blue. And it's just all kind of like a geometric sunburst, basically.
It contributes a great deal of brightness.
It does.
Oh, totally.
Opens up the color of the space there, which people will never see now because it's in the barrel house.
Yeah,
You
it's
can't
true.
see it from
In the
the
barrel
barrel,
house.
right?
This is actually where the taps are outside, so you'll
the
definitely
outside
see it.
That's what I was
taps.
thinking
Okay.
you was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because that's been featured prominently
You
on
know
the
what?
social media.
Okay, I was thinking inside, and I'm like, how did I miss that? Because that doesn't
yeah.
sound. Yes, the patio. Okay.
Definitely not behind the bar.
Okay.
Yeah, in the barrel- in the barrel
I'm in
room.
it there now. Absolutely. Okay, I got it.
So, you know what? You spent a fair amount of time brewing prior to this. You were with Orpheus and Red Brick both, right?
Oh, yeah. So I spent about 3 years at Orpheus, and I think I still have barrels over there with my name on it.
That's handy. Just in case, go in and call the card, right?
Well, he let me pick 2 when we opened to do a little collab, which is pretty awesome. But then before that, actually, my wife got me my first brewing job at Red Brick. She knew some people in the tap room.
That's pretty cool. Well, guys, we have to take a break here. We're going to be back very soon with more from Sceptre Brewing Arts.
Are you really doing Facebook right? I'm Aaron Williams, and here's your Marketing Minute. Facebook is a fantastic place to communicate with your fans. I'm sure you're using it to let people know about your specials, new beers, events. In other words, you're talking at your audience. Instead, try talking with your audience. Start conversations, ask questions, and show your fans what's going on behind the scenes. You'll make more of them, I promise. For more marketing tips and tricks, head to crafted-consulting.com/radio.
It's time to take your snack back with bold flavors that complement your latest brew. Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds will do just that with flavors like Korean kimchi barbecue, honey chipotle, cilantro lime, and more. Munch on these beer-friendly bacon bites right out of the bag, or crush them in your favorite recipes as a substitute for breading. Find your next bag at Kroger or go to southernrecipesmallbatch.com for recipes and a buy 2 get 1 coupon. That's southernrecipesmallbatch.com.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I didn't enjoy it at all.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to our newest radio affiliate, WMAY 970 AM and 94.7 FM in Springfield, Illinois. Catch Beer Guys Radio on WMAY every Saturday at 2 p.m. local time. Now let's get back to our conversation with Sceptre Brewing Arts.
You know, Trevor, the state of Illinois has been pretty good to Beer Guys Radio. We
has.
got 3 affiliates.
I
there
think
now?
it's 3
Yeah,
now.
We got
yeah.
three markets there in Illinois.
I think they were rivaling, Washington for a while.
Washington,
We had 3, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't they home of Scratch Brewing? Is that in Illinois?
I'm almost sure that is correct. Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely a fan of what they've done.
Okay.
for
They
sure.
do a lot of like crazy farmhouse and that, right? That's what
yeah.
I thought. Yeah, I think that's Illinois.
They should drop us a line and get on the show then. That's
Do
what
what's
I
up.
think, yeah.
Say what's up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Trevor, 4th of July, man. 4th of July. It's a great beer time.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Backyard. So if you're in the backyard, you're
Mm-hmm.
firing up the grill and you've got a cooler there. What's on your grill? What's in your cooler?
What's on my grill is definitely going to be some shrimp skewers.
Cool. Yes.
Definitely, because I'm from Georgia, and Georgia shrimp is fantastic. And the cooler, I definitely start with something light and something sour and something hoppy.
Light, sour, and is that three different
options.
beers?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
three
yeah.
different beers.
Oh, yeah. I got to have variety.
Okay. All
For
right.
sure.
See, he's cheating.
Yeah, he is
Right,
cheating.
He's cheating. He's giving that. So
Which beer goes the best with the shrimp, though?
Oh, man, that is a loaded question.
see, right? The trick questions there, man.
Loaded
know.
with shrimp, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, you know
we'll
what? I would say a gozo would go best with shrimp because of that saltiness. You get some of the brininess of the sea. That's
Yeah.
just a perfect match right there.
Maybe do some complimentary, maybe a little lime marinade on the shrimp,
Lime chili.
some lime and chili.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, that's what's
mezcal.
up.
with a little lime wire, and you're good to
right.
go, right, man? Absolutely, good stuff. Brian, how about you, man? What are you queuing up, and what are you drinking?
You know, I think because of my fascination right now with fermenting vegetables, I'd have to have some sort of a sausage and or hot dog or
Okay,
whatever.
sure.
Put some sauerkraut on that. Put some mustard on that. And I think that just with that, I'm probably going to go. I'm going to go IPA. I might start off crispy, but I'm definitely going to wind up IPA before too long. This is my default. I'm always going to wind up IPA eventually.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you, Tim?
Brian, when it comes to 4th of July, man, I'm classic, man. I want burgers and dogs. Give me that. Maybe some brats, something like that. But that's it, man. I just enjoy the good old Americana. I have a friend from South Africa, and I think in South Africa they call it a braai. I think, is that. And they've got, these nice sausages and meats and that. And he was actually poking fun at our burgers and dogs. No hate, man. I like a good cheeseburger off the grill, some hot dogs, maybe a sausage. But, Brian, if I'm backyard barbecuing, it's 4th of July, it's hot, I'm hanging outside and that, I'm going Crispy Boys, man. I'm going to have me a nice lager there. I like Creature's Classic City Lager is a go-to. Bibo Pilsner. And if I can get enough of it, Halfway Crooks Ada has really been my
I forgot
jam,
about that.
man.
Can I change my answer to Ada? Because
it's too late now. I got all the Ada.
Is that
so no
is that
more.
the ideal food to go with a bacon explosion right off the
You know what? I bet it would go really nice. It would go really nice. Absolutely. Well, good stuff, man. Either way, good 4th of July, good times. Trevor, we want to talk to you some about malt.
Sure.
How about that, man? Now, you mentioned that you have a craft malt certification. Is it the brew pub or you?
So it's a brew pub.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've never heard of this before. Tell us about this.
It's actually brand new. The Craft Malt Guild just released the certification about 6 months ago. And basically, you just have to use 10% of all of your malt has to be craft malt.
Okay.
So for those of you who aren't familiar with the term craft malt, it really signifies that the maltster is making 11,000 tons or less and sources 50% of their grain from within 500 miles.
Okay.
So it's by definition local and small.
So does that mean you wind up using a fair amount of malt that was originally grown? Maybe not malted here in Georgia, but grown here in Georgia?
So right now, the only grain that I can get grown in Georgia on a regular basis is wheat. And it comes from a farm right by Lake Hartwell.
Okay. Craft malt is definitely newish.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how many craft maltsters. I've been turned on to it, I guess, for a couple years now, 2-3 years.
So River Bend started about 10 years ago.
Okay. Oh, have they been around that long? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, you know what? They probably told us that when they were on the show,
Probably.
but that's been a little while ago, and I didn't remember that.
Has that been 2 years ago? It's been a while.
It's been a little while ago. But speaking of craft malt, Riverbend has been on the show. For those listening, if you want to learn a little bit more about craft malt, look for our Riverbend show. It'd be interesting stuff. So.
I think I heard that there was one that was coming to Georgia, but I couldn't.
There is.
Googling and I couldn't find the name.
I think it's called Georgia Malt House.
Okay.
I need to verify that, but we've traded some emails, and I know he was working on some test batches, so they're getting close, Brian. They're working on it, but we're going to have a maltster here, and they are popping up more. When we talked to Holiday Brewing, who is a gluten-free brewery in Colorado, there's a gluten-free maltster out there, that specializes in doing that. So they get, I forget, sorghum and some other ones that they use that, for that. So there's specialty malts out there, and it's really coming up to get these things like that.
Yeah, there's a really cool maltster in Durham, North Carolina called Epiphany, and they have all kinds of fun grains. They do like spelt and rye, and they have triticale, which is like a wheat rye hybrid. I love it. It's really awesome.
So I have another idea for that room, that space inside of your brewery that you're not using.
Oh, no.
You could start floor malting
Floor malting?
in there.
Yeah.
Floor malting, yes. A pico malt house
That's
there.
right.
There, yeah.
See, you've got that space. It'll stay nice and warm in there. It'll be fantastic.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It's getting
man.
crowded in there now. isn't it?
You still
Absolutely.
have barrels hanging out over top of it. You just have to bend down when you're doing all the raking or whatever you're doing. I don't even know what else going on there.
Yeah.
I think you just volunteered yourself to run my malt house.
There you go,
I
Brian.
guess we can
You
talk
ready to
about how
malt
much
up,
it
man?
pays.
You get a 6-pack a week.
I might need a 12. I might
Let
need
me
a
get
12.
back to you. Let me get back to you. Have you been able yet, Trevor, to brew an entirely Georgia beer?
I haven't. No, that's a dream of mine for sure.
Okay.
It's actually really difficult to get hops anywhere in Georgia. I know you guys talked to Wild Leap about the hydroponic hops from Alabama, which is basically as close as you can get. But I've just recently talked to a farm in northern Florida that's got some really beautiful Cascade that they're going to bring me in a couple weeks.
Okay, cool. And that's we've got our friend Mike Barber here in Georgia.
Oh yeah, Mike. I've talked to him before.
Yeah, I thought so. He's working. I'm not sure that he got much last year, but I know he's got some plants doing really well this year. Yorkville Hops and Produce.
Yep.
So there's more coming up. Like you said, you're talking Florida, Alabama, and Georgia hops. Is that not crazy?
It's crazy.
A couple of years ago, I saw that in the news where there was an investment in trying to grow, expand hop growth in Florida. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Right,
I don't know
yeah.
how that's going to work out. Well, apparently it's working out.
I think the temperature's so consistent that they don't run into a lot of other problems.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty interesting stuff. Now, on the malt subject, what percentage craft malt do you use?
100%.
You are 100%.
I'm 100% craft malt.
All right. Is that hard for you to do? Do you have to? Is there anything that you have found you haven't been able to do because of that?
Not necessarily. Honestly, so I source from basically 3 maltsters, and Riverbend doesn't have a lot of roasted malts.
Right.
And so I get those from Epiphany. And then Carolina Malt House has pretty limited offerings as well. But I just kind of round them all out and order from each one and get what I need. And it's really fun because they can do specialty projects like a smoked pecan wood Pilsner malt.
That's pretty cool. Have you done a custom malt yet? Like this is a Sceptre malt?
Yeah.
Was that the pecan wood one? Was that? Okay.
Yeah. So, and actually Epiphany loved it so much that they asked me if they could use it for other folks. And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Licensing fees. There you go.
I know,
Like
right?
Spread the love, right?
The Sceptre roast.
Yeah. So
That'd be
there's some
something
distillers using that malt.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure I get the whisper of it in the margarita beer, the agave beer.
Oh, that's right.
Lime wire?
It's called pipe lime.
Pipe lime. I knew I had that mixed up a little bit, but pipe lime. I don't like a heavy smoke, but I could see in a whiskey, I could see being down with that, sure enough.
You do like some smoked whiskeys, I've noticed.
And the
which
whiskey,
is
I'm
weird.
good with it.
You're not that into it in beer, but you like it in whiskey.
Don't judge me, Brian.
I am judging right now,
do
actively.
not. You know what? Because of that, we're going to take a break. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We'll be back very soon to talk more with Sceptre Brewing Arts.
Craft beer forged with a reverence for tradition and new styles that start a revolution. Ironmonger Brewing. The brewers at Ironmonger Brewing pride themselves at being masters of barrel-aged, hoppy, and sour beers. They invite you to their tap room in Marietta, Georgia to taste and see. Also visit their barrel room for an intimate drinking experience with great live entertainment. Keep up to date on all things Ironmonger by liking them on Facebook. Ironmonger Brewing, establishing a new standard in craft beer.
Have you ever thought about owning your own brewery but don't know what it takes to get one built? We're Storytime Construction, and we build breweries. We're Georgia's most experienced and hands-on contractors when it comes to building new breweries and tap rooms, or expanding existing breweries. We offer full build-outs, remodeling, and additions, as well as consulting and construction management. Give us a call at 770-733-4343. Storytime Construction. We build breweries.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Cannonball coming.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now let's get back to Sceptre Brewing Arts.
Trevor, we're going to try and zip through 2 beers in this segment because that is what you brought
That's right.
to showcase today. I'm currently sipping on Metropolitan. And we've got a lot of Sceptre logos, like the rainbow of Sceptre logos on the can. But you said this is inspired by a graphic novel?
Oh, yeah. It's called Metropolitan. That's the name of the graphic novel. It's written by Warren Ellis. And it's like this sweet post-apocalyptic world where this guy just goes on a rampage exposing tyranny in the government. And it's pretty cool. Like, all the art is just really super bright and colorful and kind of like crazy all over the wall. But it's just fantastic.
You had me at Rampage.
The Rampage.
I know, right? Yeah,
Brightly
it's totally
colored
appropriate.
Rampage.
Rampage. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Go
yeah.
back thinking about Archer. Just anytime he.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite Archer line is when he had the switchblade, and his mom's like, "When did you start carrying a switchblade?" He's like, "It's a long story, mother."
Yeah.
And it shows him looking in a store window at a switchblade going, "Neat." So that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Trevor, we wanted to talk to you about a very important beer collaboration that's going on around the world. I was going to say around the country, but around the world right now. The Black is Beautiful collaboration, which is just a fantastic Weathered Souls. Kick that off. It's to support, the ending racism, cultural balance here. And you recently brewed that. You collaborated with the ATL Beer Gang and did that. Can you kind of tell us about, why you got involved with that and how that went?
Oh, yeah, sure. I feel like it's my responsibility from being from Atlanta to actually be on the right side of history on this and support the people of color that are in Atlanta that make this place such a wonderful place to be. And the ATL Beer Gang, those guys are awesome. They've supported us from day one. So it's kind of a no-brainer to have them on board working on this project. I wouldn't have done it alone. I had to work with somebody because just the act of being an anti-racist and addressing this and, doing something is one thing, but doing something with the people that it affects is another. And
you did a lot better. I don't feel I did justice to explaining what the program was about, but
no, not really,
not at
Tim.
all. But thank you, Trevor, because I kind of froze up, didn't get that out right. But Bernard McCoy, who's part of the ATL Beer Gang, he was on. He did the beer and cheese.
He did the beer and cheese thing,
pairing with us, and that's a great cause.
Still one of our favorite episodes.
It was a good.
We speak
time.
fondly of that episode.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, do you know when this beer is coming out?
We haven't set a date for the release yet, but a little bird told me I might get some brandy barrels pretty soon.
Okay.
So I might barrel age half of it and then release the other half and then wait a year and kind of do like a reminder of, hey, have you guys been paying attention to race relations a year later?
Don't forget.
Just a reminder.
It's a lifelong goal, So
well, that is something they say a lot of times when right now it's on the forefront. Everybody's thinking about it. Everybody's addressing it, but it'll go by the wayside. And people, not that people won't be addressing it, but not like they are right now. So it's always good to have things to remind people. Don't forget about this.
Exactly.
Keep it going.
It's a liquid version of asking Alexa to remind you in 1 year. Hopefully it kicked off a bunch of people's Alexa machines.
Did you? Yeah, get them going.
So
there.
did you make variations on the recipe? Because I think they encourage you to kind of go with it, figure something out for yourself.
For sure, yeah. The big difference is ours is 100% craft malt, and we did kind of the same idea as our Imperial Stout Barbalith, except we didn't use any of our smoked malts. It's just very straightforward Imperial Stout. But the guys at ATL Beer Gang had a great idea. They said, why don't we add Rwanda coffee to this to kind of like bump it up and make it our own and kind of really drive it home for, how they felt to support like what is beautiful about black, like the idea of the many shades of black. And they were like, you know what, let's get like this really powerful coffee to kind of boost this beer up. So Radio Roasters and Decatur, they hooked us up with some single origin Rwanda coffee that we'll add.
That's good stuff. Do you know Rwandan coffee, Brian?
I do, yes. I drink some of that. I like a variety of single origin African coffee. Some of my very favorites: Kenyan, Rwandan, Ethiopian. Yeah, I was on board before you said you put coffee in it. I'm like, I'm even more on board now. And it's from my favorite region of coffee. So yeah, that's all I had to say about that, Tim.
That's
I'm
it?
really
You've
excited
got it
about the
set.
coffee,
Okay,
yes.
good stuff.
I really like Cameroon coffee.
I don't think I've had coffee from I've had tobacco from Cameroon, but I've not had coffee from...
Really good.
What is the character of a Cameroon coffee?
I would say it's probably like kind of oaky, earthy, sweet, like maybe a little bit of leather, but I used to roast coffee ages ago, so I really liked working with Cameroon.
That sounds like something I would dig. See, I like the fudge, chocolate, nuttiness.
Yeah.
Deep. Now, I want coffee that tastes like coffee.
Sure.
I like a good Colombian roast. I'm totally down with that.
I drink black coffee.
See, I know, Brian, you like the bright, herbal, fruity,
I like the
acidic.
light roast. I like the berry notes. I like the floral. I've had some that are very tea-like, and I've enjoyed that. I've had some that were almost like I like a beef bouillon, like have an interesting like beefy character to them. A really unusual stuff. I really like that. I do enjoy the darker, the richer, the heavier notes occasionally, but I'm finding what I really enjoy most when I'm drinking coffee, especially that first cup, is the lighter roast, those brighter colors. So, yeah, and you get some of that out of, your Kenyan, your Ethiopian, your Rwandan beans. So, big fan of those. I am, yeah.
You're a coffee encyclopedia over there, Brian.
Yeah, I didn't mean to obsess over it, but I kind of have. I don't know why.
I know how
Something
you
wrong
do.
with that.
I know how you do.
Yeah.
So, Trevor, what else is brewing at Sceptre? What's coming up, man?
Cool. I've got actually lots of stuff coming up. We're revamping some distribution. We kind of took a little pause there to reevaluate how we were going to operate, and I'm going to send some more cans out pretty soon. We're brewing some more Chaos Magician IPA. I've got Laughing Falcon Pale Ale coming out. Want to use some local habaneros to do a habanero version of that pale ale, which that's one of my favorite styles, a nice spicy pale ale. It's like just enough spice to make you thirsty for more.
That's what you want in a beer. Drink up, right?
A beer
Exactly.
that makes you thirsty for more of it. Yeah, that's a great idea.
And we've got another pale ale called Art Show that I made with some lemon balm tea. So I actually grew that myself, and I'm really excited about that.
You grew tea?
Yeah. Well, lemon balm.
Lemon balm. Oh, okay. See,
it came out in little tea bags. It's great. They come right off the plant.
You know what's
That's how it works.
Is I've read stuff recently. I'd never thought about it before, but people were talking about making a so-and-so tea. And I'm like, tea with this, and I didn't realize they're basically just talking about steeping.
Yeah,
just something in hot water.
Not necessarily a tea.
Yeah, just something dried, just dried herbs,
Dried herbs soaked in water, boom, tea.
Yeah, you got it.
So we teased it up front. We have to get into it. Earlier on, we had Thrash Can Lager. I don't think we really talked about one of the more interesting characters of that beer. It's the wild lager yeast. Where did that come from? And it's captured. Did you capture that?
So I didn't capture that. We work really closely with Bootleg Biology out of Nashville, Tennessee, and they have a whole program called a backyard yeast wrangling, and they're trying to capture wild yeast from every zip code in the U.S. This happened to be from Arlington, Virginia, and when I heard about it, I was super excited because it's a southern lager yeast, and eventually Thrash Can will be 100% southern sourced once I can find some hops. But it's a really cool yeast, super clean. I just wanted to put wild because the capture of lager yeast is almost unheard of.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We hear about a lot of wild ale yeast in that, but never. I don't think I've ever heard about anyone capturing a wild lager yeast.
I think the only commercial version that has been released in recent years is something from Heineken.
Heineken. We did talk about Heineken. Yeah. They found it unusual. One from South America.
It was Patagonia.
Patagonia. Yeah.
Weren't they saying it was actually like the mother yeast or something like that? That it was.
It's debatable.
I'd have to look back and see all the details on that, but still.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever actually had that to see what that was like. I know that came out. Did you try it?
I haven't tried that version, but ours comes off super clean. It's got a little tiny bit of citrus in there, but it's just a really awesome American lager with some malted corn and Pilsner malt.
Do you happen to know why lager yeast are not captured that often?
It's basically the way that they thrive. Is temperature is colder, they ferment from the bottom, so it's kind of harder to grab that good yeast sample from something that you're trying to capture. I think it's just a scarcity.
I figured that's what it was. I didn't know if there was other factors that played into it, but
there's rumors about a cave in Germany originated the lager yeast, but nobody's ever been able to capture lager yeast in those caves, so who knows?
Good stuff. Trevor, if people want to know more about Sceptre Brewing Arts, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. Follow us on social media or Instagram. We're really updating pretty regularly, and our website, sceptrebrewingarts.com.
Awesome. Trevor, thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Cheers, guys.
Absolutely. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. Join us next week as we talk with Urban South Brewery. For more craft beer info, follow us online. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers.